Alright guys, here we are at Chop's Wine Bar, and I'm going to show you my famous mac and cheese recipe today. So, we're going to start with the ingredients. What we have here, we have 4 ounces of real butter, cubed up, 4 ounces of flour, chicken base, 2 quarts of heavy cream, 8 ounces of bacon bits, our famous chef salt, paprika, a little hot sauce, and our cheese blend. And this is part of what makes it taste so good. This is a cheddar, pepper jack, and Gouda blend. And so you got the smokiness of the Gouda and the smokiness of the bacon, and it's just dynamite. So let's go ahead and get started here with the greatest and best cheese sauce in the world. A tribute to cheese sauces everywhere. 4 ounces of butter in the pot. Melt that down real quick. Getting there. While we're waiting on that, we're going to add a tablespoon of chicken base. Chicken broth would work. Chicken bouillon would work. This is part of what gives it the umami, the earthiness, the body of the sauce comes from the chicken base. Then we're going to add 4 ounces of flour. When you combine butter and flour together, they call that a roux, R-O-U-X. And we're going to let that simmer for about 1 minute. This way it cooks the gluten and the starches out of the roux, and it doesn't taste pasty and doughy. So we have our chicken base in, our butter and flour. Next, we're going to go ahead and add our heavy cream. 2 quarts heavy cream going in. I use heavy cream because it's so fatty and rich and bad for you. And here's a trick that I learned a long time ago. You take these heavy cream jugs and you set it on a heat source, or warm it up in the microwave or whatever. And we're going to let that sit for about 30 seconds. And you'll see why I did that. So this is what's going to take the longest out of all this. I got the heat rocking pretty high, so I'm going to stir it a little more frequently because I'm trying to make this not the longest video in the whole world. So this is why I heated up the heavy cream. It's all about the pennies, kids. So while we're waiting on that, we're also going to put our bacon bits in. And you can see I had everything ready to go here. All of my ingredients are laid out and put in its place. The French would call this mise en place. You get all your prep work done ahead of time, then when you're assembling your recipe, it makes it that much easier to execute. That's a great trick that a lot of professional cooks use. So we're still waiting on the cream to simmer. It's going to take a couple minutes here. Bacon bits going in. Essentially, we're going to add the rest of our ingredients now, except for the cheese. Chef salt. Tablespoon and a half. Start out slow if you're not sure. You don't want to over season the food. You can't take the spice out of the food, but you can always add more spice. So what I have here is paprika. Smoked paprika would also work, and it would fit the recipe. And the reason I'm using this is mostly for color. It makes it a little more orange. So we're going to wait on that to simmer. And I asked Master Mixologist Brad here at Chops Wine Barn to pair me a drink that goes with this smoky Gouda bacon mac and cheese. And we chose an old-fashioned, because when you're pairing food and beverage, there's two ways of looking at it. You can either compare or contrast your flavor profiles. And in this case, we're comparing. So the smokiness from the bourbon pairs fantastic with the bacon and the Gouda cheese. Bourbon and bacon is a flavor match made in heaven. So this is going to be real quick. Okay, it's starting to simmer a little bit here. So let's give this a taste. We've got the square ice. We have the bruleed orange rind, Luxardo cherry, and the bourbon of your choice. Let's get this in. Whew. That is one delicious cocktail. Fantastic. So I can't wait to taste the mac and cheese alongside the old-fashioned. So you can see here, bubbles are just starting to form on the edges, and it's got starting to thicken up a little bit from that butter and flour, from the roux. The reason we add the roux in the first place is to stabilize the cheese sauce. On reheat, sometimes it'll separate because the cheese is very oily. It has a high fat content. That's why it tastes so good. And when you, sometimes on the reheat on this, you might see a little bit of separation. If we didn't add the roux, the cheese sauce would definitely separate over time, especially if you're holding it hot, like in a restaurant setting. So just a little bit away here from adding the cheese. I forgot one thing. We're going to add a little bit of hot sauce to this. A little sriracha, give it some zing, give it more of that orange flavor. And we are almost there, kids. Again, the greatest cheese sauce in the world. And while we're waiting on that, honestly, I'm going to finish up this dish. This is barbecue pork belly. So pork belly. Whoops. These are pork lardons. It comes from the belly of the pig. It's bacon's meatier cousin. Throw that in the oven and throw some fire on that. And then I think we're going to be ready for the cheese, which we are. You can see it's come to a nice simmer. We're going to go ahead and add our, what is that, 1 pound, 4 ounces of cheese. And this is my favorite part of making this sauce. Eventually you're going to get to see this cheese stretch here. And it is almost go time. Look at that, kids. Holy smokes. This ain't no Kraft macaroni and cheese. That's right. Alright, so we're going to let that come up to a simmer. Then we're going to go ahead and, thank you. Then we're going to go ahead and finish this dish. Standard portion on this, 8 ounces of noodles, 8 ounces of sauce. Cavatappi is my noodle of choice because of the ridges in there and the hollowness of it. Helps the sauce adhere a little better. And we're almost there. 8-ounce ladle. We're going to give it a little more. I like it saucy. I'm going to go ahead and kill the heat. Right, nice and saucy. And sometimes we add more heavy cream to it. It gets too thick. But that looks fantastic. Ooey gooey. We're going to let that finish heating up here. We're going to go ahead and plate. Go ahead and let that simmer another second. Let's get the pork belly ready. Nice little bit of char on there. And our barbecue. Go ahead and barbecue this up. Delish. Kill the heat on everything. Just look at it. OMG. Go ahead and scrape off the last little yum yums. Finish it with our barbecue pork belly. Ouch. And then one last thing. Garnish with some green onions. So let's give this a taste. I got my main man, Rogelio, with me. Brad, you went in on this?
Good. It's delicious. I already know.
Oh my God. Crunchiness of the pork belly. Taste that with this old fashioned. Oh my God. That's a match made in heaven, kids. Okay, well that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining me. That's the smoky bacon Gouda mac and cheese paired with an old fashioned. Thanks for watching.